Hey guys, what's going on? It's Shaman Supreme from Level 1, and I have the legend, the unsung hero, one of the first EVO Champ, Jason Cole, also known as AfroCole.
Hey, what's
going on, brother?
Friend? What's good, my friend? What's good?
I want to just first off thank you for taking your time out. As I mentioned to you just a few moments ago, you're one of the pioneers of the FGC. You know, this started with Battle of the Bay, and then when it moved over to Vegas and it started to blow up to become a bigger thing, you were just this pioneer, this GOAT, and you know this. So
even before then, my friend.
Yes, tell me a little bit
that
about
was like
that.
a little intermediate, but I mean, you know, it goes way back to World Warrior and stuff, back to like my high school days, my friend. Like that's when like everyone first discovered Street Fighter. I remember coming to high school and then one of my homies just come into my little group and just getting hyped. Oh man, there's this new game and then they got these crazy characters and this military dude and this guy, and then you just can do one-on-one. I was like, well, slow down, man. What's up, man? And so it got so hyped that you know, me and one of my best friends, you know, shout out to Brett Tellis. We went to the arcade at our local mall, and you know, it was called Aladdin's Castle at that time and stuff. And you know, back in arcades, RIP arcades. And so we're sitting there seeing this big crowd around this game. And we're like, yo, what is going on? We were just watching at first. And when finally everybody cleared, you know, I went up to the mic and, you know, we were just like, you know, they had the little strip of moves and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
So the only thing, but
everything
everything back then was archaic. So the only thing we understood was, oh, just keep mashing this button with Chun-Li and keep mashing this button with Blanca or Honda. Right. So he played Blanca and I played Chun-Li, and that was the first time I experienced it. And once we got on there, we were hooked, man. And you know, Capcom, you know, I grew up in San Jose, California. So Capcom was right next door in Sunnyvale. So one of our main arcades, they always had tests there for all the games. So, you know, back then was, we had this one liaison from Capcom called, you know, James Goddard. And they pretty much were the first ones to implement tournaments for Street Fighter. Like at first, you know, everyone was just going to 7-Eleven, just playing, getting good, put your quarter up, you know, lines, and you know, every 7-Eleven had their local champion. I was that kid just riding my bike to every 7-Eleven asking like, who's the main dude that plays here? Oh, this is Bobby, man. Bobby comes over here at 4 o'clock, man, and no one beats him. Like, all right, I'll be back at 4 o'clock. Like, I was that dude. And I come back and I would just play that dude until I beat him, and then I was known for that 7-Eleven until like every 7-Eleven was like, well, who's the top player? Oh, that's Cole, man.
The FGC's just been continuously growing. You've been there from the start, right? And you mentioned that you know, it started to become a little bit more of a tournament-based scene, right? When it started to become more competitive. When did you see it becoming like, when it started to take kind of a little bit like a lift off, right? When it started to becoming a bigger thing, when you started to notice that this isn't just a bunch of guys playing at 7-Eleven, putting up their quarters. This is a legit tournament. This is a competition. People are coming to bring their best. When did you see that start to happen?
Oh man, that was day one. Like I was saying, like when James Goddard and Dave Winstead, when they were working for Capcom and they introduced that first tournament, that world tournament, that was the spark, man. After that, every single area, if they were known or not, started running their own tournaments and stuff in local areas, big areas. That's when, you know, the California buzz happened, where it was LA versus, you know, SoCal. Because that first tournament sparked where, you know, our best player from NorCal went down to SoCal, and SoCal ended up taking the first trophy, you know, and we ended up getting third, and that was it. So we already knew from day one, like once that first spark started, that like, you know, I was always like, oh man, you know, Street Fighter would be so much bigger if we weren't limited to arcades, because at that time FPSs were in on PCs, and they had every access and internet and speed and support. But you know, it's hard to support arcades. So you know, I was always like, man, if we ever could get to a level where, you know, it's online and there was no issues with lag, we're gonna blow up, and that's where we're at right now.
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? So it was known from the beginning and stuff. It just took a while to get here, you know.
So you start from World Warrior, right? Things turn into Battle of the Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're the first EVO champ, right?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So how do we get there? How do we get AfroCole, this guy that's beating up all these guys, taking over the West Coast, to becoming the first-time EVO champ?
Man, I mean, you know, it's just that long path. You know, all the evolutions of Street Fighter, from Champion Edition to Hyper Fighting. You know, there was always a major tournament there. You know, Champion Edition, I might have gotten like 15th, but you know, it was always that growth. Still playing with the same cats, meeting the cats in LA, having that rivalry, and eventually bonding. And then, you know, it became, you know, the rest of the world against California and stuff, you know, or really Cali against the rest of the states. And then it was East Coast versus West Coast and stuff. And it was just that long growth. And, you know, in ST, you know, I've was blessed to be, you know, raised with a lot of great players, you know, like, you know, John Choi, Thomas
ST?
Osaki.
For those who don't know what ST
Super
is.
Turbo Street Fighter, you know, that's the evolution of the original World Warrior.
Right.
That was that last one. And so, you know, folks like Graham Wolf, you know, Alex Wolf, another EVO champion, you know, plenty of EVO champions. You know, John Choi was one of the few cats that won multiple games in the EVO and stuff. You know, probably the only American that's really done that. Just like, you know, I'm one of the few Americans that did back-to-back.
Tell us about that first EVO experience, right? So you're signing up. Was your goal to win EVO? Like, obviously, look, everyone wants to win. If you didn't,
man, it's a Cinderella story, bro.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Oh man, you know, I studied with like the greatest, you know, me, Thomas Osaki, and, you know, a couple other cats, Graham Wolf, you know, all those guys. I mean, we were grinding for a full year getting ready for EVO and stuff. And yeah, you're right, I just shut down and did the last Battle of the Bay before it transferred to EVO. I had won, it was me versus John Choi. Not only that, like, I was doing some like impossible stuff. There's a lot of stuff that there's some VHS tapes out there that, you know, have footage, but, you know, haven't really surfaced yet. I know one of those questions is like, you know, what do you really do to prepare for some of these like big battles? And I'm a big believer of just researching your opponents and stuff. So, you know, rewind a little bit. Before Top 8, I was, you know, watching Anuki play. And we had already influenced Japan with Old Sagat. They didn't know about that character, of how powerful he was. So I saw him a couple matches in there playing Old Sagat, and I was like, oh, okay, he got a little pocket Sagat. I was like, okay, so he probably thinks he's gonna try to counter with that. I was like, so I put that in the back of the memory. So fast forward to, you know, I had put him in the loser's bracket, Dawson Chun-Li, and he wasn't ready for my Dawson the first time. And then when he got back and romped through everybody and got back to the finals, he freaking, you know, beat me and put, you know, so now it's like 1-1, he reset bracket.
Right.
So I'm over here thinking, I'm talking to Choi again. I was like, man, bro, and I was like, told Choi, I was like, you know, I saw him playing Sagat, man. I was like, I think if I counter him out the gate with Sagat on his Chun-Li and beat him, he's gonna try to counter me Sagat, and then it's already a wrap. Because back then it was like chess. There were hard counters. If you can win that first game, you could counter character the hell out of somebody and win that last game. So I had already put the chess match in the niche, and I was just like, if I get him to switch to Sagat, it doesn't even matter if he beats me. I'm gonna come in with Dawson, I'm gonna wreck his Sagat, and then I'm just gonna need one more game, and it's gonna be too different for him to remember what his original strategy was to beat him. I had already threw him off. And he's like, no, just stick to Dawson, man. You got this, don't do this. And I was like, oh, so I go up to stage, man. It was 2 arcades that they did. They linked up. He had a Japanese arcade, I had an American arcade. And so I'm just thinking, I was actually about to listen to Choi, and I'm over there like, oh, okay, man. Yeah, he's probably right. I should pick Dawson. And I see this guy immediately go to Chun-Li. This pick's all confident, and I was just like, nah, I went straight to Sagat and wrecked him, yo. And just like clockwork, he played my to my tune, man. He came in with Saget just like I said, and this whole time I'm just laughing like you already done, man.
Right. You knew what was happening.
I got you. Yeah. And I'm over here freely playing with Saget, and I still almost beat him, right? But I did some wild stuff because I was laughing. He still beat me. I came in with Dolphin and just trashed him. And then when he came in with Chun-Li, it was just too much. Like I called out, and I just wrecked him and rushed him down and got that back-to-back. So, and that's when my homies just run up stage. And
and that's when history is set. Yeah,
man, that was the first one.
Last year for 2023, we were at the Mandalay and we had this nice seamless access
We're
to
on
the
ESPN2 now and stuff, Everybody, actually has their local LAN centers or their local little spots that everybody bands together, or they're online. It's evolved.
And what do you, coming from, from the beginning, how do you feel about all this? Do you think we're going in the right direction?
Oh, it's definitely the right direction, because like I told you before, like we saw this from day one. I remember being so angry about being limited to arcade because it was so difficult to just get, everybody had to go to one location, then we had to get all these donated arcades, and then it's a pain in the butt to get them over to the location and stuff. And it was kind of a blessing once they went console, we had a little freedom, but still there was no online, there was no access, So it was always like you see in FPSs, MOBAs, all these PC games just having so much reach and billions of players, and it's just like everybody's playing, but we don't have access to each other. So man, I was always upset about that. So where it's at now is a blessing. That's exactly where we should be right now. Now we got the whole world playing and connected, and now everybody's on an equal level. Before it was like, oh, you had to actually, if you didn't grow up in a certain area, you just didn't have access to knowledge, and you're just behind. But now everybody has access, and that's a beautiful thing.
Now, as the FGC, there's a lot of prize money. People are getting paid.
I know, man. We're making that guap right now.
We're making that guap, brother. You know what I mean?
Man. That's the only thing I regret. I'm like, I was born too early.
Capcom's dishing out a lot of money, right? We have these big world tournaments.
I know, Esports World Cup about to go down, man. Qualifiers all over the place.
How do you feel about that, right? Do you think that, this is where it needs to be, like money-wise? Do you think, the esports?
I mean, I love the opportunity, man. I mean, everybody else has been getting it, so why not for fighting games?
Right.
It took us so long to get here. It's about time people recognize it. And, we always worried about corporate getting in there, changing the beat, but it's a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? Like, certain aspects that we lose from grassroots, sure, it's not all family, but look at the opportunity. Look at some of these
of the rawness.
Look at some of the, but look at the opportunities that are offering to some of these kids now and stuff. I mean, you got stuff like, Riot Games doing it right with League of Legends, getting people like college freaking, tuitions to go in there, or like opportunities there to just go in there. And so it's cool that fighting games in general are kind of getting in that. And, it's finally cool that these companies have made these games realize that, okay, we did have something here. So it was beneficial for us to support you guys and be in the mix and help this grow into something that's amazing, because it's all a rotation. Everybody wins, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
company gets their repertoire or whatever, to keep them in business, and everybody, loves playing the game and loves supporting it, from like people doing like the media and stuff, and doing their own thing. Like there's so many aspects. And, even back in the day, I've always, I had a little dojo, like home place in Seattle where, I grew a lot of players, and, I'm at that level, I'm more as a spectator, and, I love to compete and stuff still, but I love passing down the knowledge and stuff, because, it's just cool that to see where it's at and just help it to keep growing, you know what I mean?
And I know you said that you saw that it was going to reach here, right? Like way back when this started. Where do you see this going in the future?
I mean, it's already in the Olympics, so that's where it's
esports.
At.
We got.
We were in the Junior Olympics last year, and so, or was it last year or 2 years ago? And Intel helped out with it and stuff, and so we're already there, my friend.
And it's nice to see that the FGC now, even with just esports in general, it's not just people who just play fighting games. there's a crap load of people who watch to just enjoy.
It's a spectator
they got
sport,
respect,
man.
and we're crossing over. We got people who are Street Fighter players that watch MK, that watch
Oh
Tekken matches.
and it goes back.
Yeah. So
Everybody bounces off.
last few questions for you, Cole.
What's
so you're entering EVO, right? The big days tomorrow.
I think it's been like 2017. I think I was still late for my bracket back then. So
it's all right. How you feeling about this tomorrow?
I'm kind of hyped, man, you know, because...
Tell us about Street Fighter 6. How you feeling about that?
I love Street Fighter 6 because it's abusable right now. And I really don't think too many people are utilizing it to the fullest right now because, you know, it's it's all about the driver system and stuff. And so the game's hype is interesting. I love that they brought back the parry system, even though it's a little, you know, nerd from Third Strike, but that dynamic is pretty awesome that it's there and stuff. So, you know, we'll see where it grows from here, but right now, man, it's all about that drive rush.
And you're doing Third Strike too, right?
Oh yeah, shout outs to Third Strike.
Yeah, so they're bringing back
classics.
That's the classic game they're bringing back this year. And how do we feeling about that, man? You told me
real good. There's a lot
of
of grimy cats. There's a lot of history in Third Strike, and everybody got everybody's number, man.
Yeah. Right.
You know, all through the years, everybody's done some, you know, some good wins and out there, and so. You know, I'm looking forward to running into some old matchups and trying to take some guys out. Shout outs to Capcom for the first time in the history of Street Fighter to actually have a guest DLC into their game. In mainstream Street Fighter. It's always been
I'm glad you brought that up. How does that, you know that? That's right.
And to me, I like to, you know, just throw out some little conspiracy theories out there. I think it's a blessing because I think it might be leaning towards in the future a CVS 3 because, you know, you got Mark of the Wolves, you know, coming out with their sequel, The Fatal Fury, which is looking real candy right now. It looks and so good. If they got Terry and Mai coming in Street Fighter 6, you already know some DLC Street Fighter characters are going to be in that game, and that's all we need. Once that happens, I see in about like 3, maybe 4 years, we're getting that CVS 3 and people are gonna lose their minds as long as they do it right. I'm looking forward to that. That's what I put out there. Well, I hope that happens.
With the way the FGC is and it's going and we have all these different fighting games out there, I can totally see us getting some type of collaboration. Capcom's reaching out. When we saw that drop, we were all like, what? Guest character in the Street Fighter Capcom
know,
game?
Terry.
But listen, Cole, I want to thank you. I really appreciate your time. We're here at EVO 2024 with the one and only Jason AfroCole, the legend. He'll be competing at EVO, and we'll be covering that. Thank you once again. This is Shaman Supreme from Level 1 Gaming. Take it easy.
Good stuff, my brother.
Appreciate you, man.